Vice President Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris is now officially the Democratic nominee for president and set to choose her running mate in the coming days.
I took on perpetrators of all kinds.
Born on the 20th of October, 1964, Kamala Davis Harris was raised by her parents in Oakland, California. Her father, Donald J. Harris, was of Jamaican heritage and taught economics at Stanford University. Her mother, Shyamala Gopalan, was the daughter of an Indian diplomat and a biologist who worked on the progesterone receptor gene that brought advancement in breast cancer research. In 1961, before Kamala was born, her father, Donald, had just moved to the United States from Jamaica for his graduate study at UC Berkeley. Donald later met Shyamala in 1962, and the two tied the knot in 1963. And in 1964, they welcomed their daughter, Kamala. In 1966, the Harrises moved to Champaign, Illinois, where Kamala's younger sister Maya was born, and her parents worked at the University of Illinois. Kamala's parents moved around the Midwest a lot, as both her parents pursued careers in multiple universities. In 1970, Kamala and her younger sister had to move back to California with their mother, while their dad stayed back in the Midwest. As Kamala grew, she kept close contact with her Indian relatives and visited Chennai with her mother and sister. Chennai, as we know, is the capital of the South Indian state of Tamil Nadu. Maya, Kamala's younger sister, grew up to become a public policy advocate with a BA in political science and economics at Howard University. Kamala, on the other hand, bagged a law degree from the University of California College of Law. From 1990 to 1998, Kamala worked as a deputy district attorney in Oakland. She was tough, and it warned her quite the reputation. Kamala would take on cases of drug trafficking, gang violence, and sexual abuse, and with time, in 2004, she became district attorney. Kamala was elected Attorney General in 2010, winning by a margin of less than 1%, thereby becoming the first African American to hold such a post. In 2014, Kamala married Douglas Emhoff. She met him in 2013 from a mutual friend, who set the two on a blind date. Emhoff was raised in a Jewish home and was an entertainment lawyer who later became a partner at Venable LP's Los Angeles office. Kamala and Douglas were married in St. Barbara, California. Kamala became the stepmother of Emhoff's two kids, Cole and Ella, which Emhoff had with his ex-wife, Keretin Emhoff. Later in, Kamala was recruited to run for the U.S. Senate seat, which was initially occupied by Barbara Boxer, who had reached retirement. Kamala made her candidacy known to the public. During her campaign, Kamala addressed the immigration and criminal justice reform. She also addressed the need for an increase in the minimum wage and the protection of women's reproductive rights.
The challenge for people in elected office is the challenge of really being able to understand and identify that there's been a false choice that's been offered on criminal justice policy, and we need to call it just that, it's a false choice.
All her efforts were crowned by her victorious emergence in the 2016 elections. When Kamala Harris took office in January 2017, she made history as the first Indian American and only the second Black American woman in the Senate. She joined important committees like the Select Committee on Intelligence and the Judiciary Committee. Her unique questioning style during hearings often caused criticism, especially by Republican senators.
Mr. Secretary, on August 3rd, the Washington Post reported that you regularly talk with the President and Stephen Miller.
The events as it with respect
Sir,
to
have you discussed the deployments with any of his campaign staff?
No.
In June, she was particularly noticed for her questioning of the U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions about Russian interference in the 2016 election. It was noted that Kamala had earlier asked him to resign. In January 2019, Harris published her memoir, The Truths We Hold: An American Journey. Soon after, she announced she was running for the Democratic presidential nomination in 2020. She was seen as a strong candidate from the start. During a primary debate, she had a heated exchange with Joe Biden over his past stance on school busing and race issues. While her campaign started strong, by September 2019, it was struggling, and she dropped out in December. Harris remained in the spotlight, especially after George Floyd's death in May 2020.
Cities across the United States remain in a state of high tension tonight as the country braces itself for another wave of protests over the death of George Floyd. The unarmed Mr. Floyd, who was black, died in Minneapolis after being pinned to the ground by a white police officer.
Oh, this is part of a movement. There's a movement at play here. That movement did not just start a few weeks ago. That movement started before Emmett Till.
She became a strong advocate for social justice reform, addressing criticisms of her time as Attorney General, where some felt she didn't do enough about police misconduct. Others saw her new stance as a way to align with the growing demand for change. As calls for racial justice grew, many Democrats wanted Joe Biden, the likely Democratic nominee, to pick a black woman as his running mate. In August, Biden chose Harris, making her the first black woman on a major party's national ticket. In November, she made history again by becoming the first black woman elected vice president. After the election, Trump and some Republicans claimed voter fraud, but they had no evidence, and most lawsuits were dismissed. Harris and Biden prepared for their new roles, announcing their plans and picking staff. By early December, all states had certified the election results. On January 6, 2021, Trump supporters stormed the Capitol as Congress began to certify the results. It took hours to restore order, but Biden and Harris were confirmed as the winners. Harris called the attack an assault on America's democracy. She resigned from the Senate on January 18 and was sworn in as vice president on January 20 under tight security. As vice president, Harris tackled big issues like the causes of increased migration from Latin America, promoting voting rights, and protecting women's access to abortion, especially after the 2022 Supreme Court ruling that limited abortion rights. She became a strong voice for reproductive rights and continued to stress this during Biden's 2024 campaign, warning that re-electing Trump could further restrict abortion access. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos. Also, tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a video.